Buff Nation, it's one of those nights. I just got done doing a spontaneous Broncos training camp preview, but I got a fun episode with Adam Munster Tiger happening tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, but maybe there's some Buffs fans. I feel like we're all over the world. So if you need to talk Buffs, if you got something on your mind, leave it in the comments. Let's have a discussion. But I'm going to open this up with one of my biggest hopes for this season. I gotta put on the Ralphie horns for this one, man. You know, the biggest X factor right now on this entire team is not a certain person that we've brought in on the offensive line. It's not any of the new like 6 guys that we brought in on the defensive line. No, absolutely not. The biggest X factor on this team is coach Phil. All my guys know their assignments. Load hold. He's going to get these guys right. They're going to know their assignments. They're going to communicate. They are properly sized. We are no longer playing fullbacks at the guard position. We are no longer expecting guys to come up here and start and perform like power 4 starting offensive linemen when they're jumping up like 3 levels of football in one off season. Absolutely not. Phil, all my guys know their assignments. Load Holt, he has changed the physical makeup of this room, bringing in like 3 guys that are over 350 pounds. He's going to get these guys right. He's going to get them moving agile. They are long. They are big. And in the case of somebody who I hyped up today, Khalil Benson, they are nasty. They got a crazy attitude. That's what we need. He knows the type of mental edge that you need to play with to be a successful long-term starting pro in the NFL. That was something Bill, none of my guys know their assignments, O'Boyle could ever talk towards. No way. So my hope is that Rawhide, you probably know what I'm doing more than anybody else on this thing. So my hope is that we see significantly less holding penalties, false starts, all of that. Let's know the snap count. No more false starts, extending a long field goal. I'll touch on this next, Keith. That's what I'm saying. Phil, all my guys know their assignments. Load Holt. We don't need to be perfect with the pass protecting. I'm not even expecting that. We got 2 tackles that, they're going to have their ups and downs. Okay? But where my expectations are high for Phil Load is having this group kick total ass in the running game. I need at least one guy kicked out of a game. And I know we're going to be upset about that when it happens, but we need one guy kicked out of a game this year just for being nasty. Okay? I want the nastiest of the nastiest offensive line. Y'all know I like my boys big on the offensive line. I also like them nasty. Be the nastiest offensive lineman in the Big 12. I want to see Khalil Benson not throw a punch. I want to see that man eye poke guys in the face, pull their eyes out. That's what I want to see on the offensive line. Khalil Benson leading the way, setting the tone for our offensive line being talked about as being dirty. Wouldn't that just be absolutely wonderful? Wow, Colorado's offensive line. Yeah, I hate those motherfuckers. Yeah, they're totally dirty. They do cheap shots, all that. I want all that. I want my offensive line to be on that line of, wow, is this okay? Is this okay or should this be illegal? Let's find where illegal is at and just get right next to it. I want us to become best friends with finding the line of what's okay in terms of our aggression and nastiness. I can't even remember the Buffaloes playing with that type of aggression on the offensive line. Phil Woldholt, instill that in these men, please. Of course, you'll do it with character and all that, but me, I'm not. I'm saying I want us to be the biggest bullies, and I want us to play nasty and dirty and cheap shot. That's what I want. Probably not, correct. But here's the thing: as long as we don't get a lot of penalties, that's the biggest thing. But we got to get one guy kicked out, and we got to at least have one eye poke this year compared to last year, where our offensive line I don't think had one eye poke. Your quarterbacks can't have more eye pokes than the offensive line. That was a clear sign that things weren't right with the team makeup, the team chemistry, all that. Now, let me get to this, Keith. I'll get to some of your other comments. Okay. Yes, we don't have that Gronk or Kelsey tight end. What the hell? Why do they always leave us? Now, I am just a man with some Ralphie horns on late this evening, talking in the corner of my bedroom about what I think about this team. But I don't really understand why there seems to be this de-emphasis, or rather, like, it's just not a big deal to have those types of athletes in the tight end room. Like, it's very clear that it just hasn't been a priority of the staff and program, as opposed to like wide receiver, running back. Like, we've brought in some really good skill position players there this year again. But they're the guys coaching. It's clear that they will want to run, in my opinion, more of a 10 personnel base offense where you have 4 starting wide receivers. And I understand that when you got the athletes that you do. But I feel like if they were to focus on finding an athlete like that, they could. But it doesn't seem like, as much as I loved Tim Brewster, I don't know. It just didn't really seem like we ever cared to really spend a lot of attention on the tight end position, recruiting wise. Ronnie on the sticks. I believe Tyler can play center like he did at Jackson State. Not sure I trust 58. Well, I understand. Now, you probably know that I'm a big Hank Zelinskis guy, 58, but I understand that what I'm excited about has been what people have said about him in the offseason, how he's performed at practice. I'm going to take practice with a grain of salt a little bit. And the fact that he's only played in 2 games significantly. He didn't start that Utah game, but I think played about 75% of it. And then, of course, had to start against CSU. And when you're looking at the sample size, Utah, in my opinion, looked a lot better than CSU. So I can understand your hesitancies. And Tyler Johnson has played a lot more college football and might be the strongest guy in the room, right? Isn't that what they said? So there would be some advantages. And maybe you're wanting, let's talk about having your strongest starting 5 offensive linemen on the team. Yeah, Tyler Johnson needs to be leading, or Tyler Brown needs to be leading that group. And I wonder if that would create room for Tyler Johnson to be part of the starting lineup as well. Now, one thing I do wonder is sometimes, with the center, they're responsible for getting upfield pretty quickly on some of these runs. I feel like you need to have pretty quick feet because stunts are being thrown at you and all that. Maybe Hank Zelinskis might move a little bit better at that position as compared to Tyler Brown. I don't really know. Maybe some of you offensive line geeks can speak a little bit more in detail on, why certain guys are better guards than they are centers, because they're all interior positions. That's kind of how I see things. But I would not oppose, I'll say this, Ronnie, I would not oppose seeing Tyler Brown get some snaps at center in fall camp and at least trying that, because I'm not even sure that we tried that much in the spring. It seems like he was a starting guard for us. Yeah, it is a little late, Pog. No doubt about it. All right. Jacoby Hammond saying, let me hear who you think the starting 5 should be. I guess it's chalk right now, so to speak. So you'd have Jordan Seaton. Then at the guards, you would have Mayers and Brown, Zelinskis at center, and then Khalil Benson starting for us at the right tackle. I kind of picked chalk for the offensive line at this point last year too. Essentially, our group that we had starting during the spring, and at this point, we all thought Tyler Brown was going to be deemed eligible, and he was starting during the spring game and all of that. So that was the one thing that changed before week one. But I like the idea of having that continuity move over from the spring semester and all of that. So, and I think there is something to that continuity, playing alongside each other. I like looking at them right now as a unit. Now, again, we'll see what happens with Tyler Johnson. I know that he was kind of banged up, I guess, for a little bit during the spring portion. And yeah, maybe he kicks one of those starting guards that I have right now to the wayside, or again, they move Tyler Brown over to center. I think that could totally happen. But that's the starting five I got right now. Hey, you know what time it is. All right. Here we go. I almost guarantee someone on the line gets suspended this year. You can't have it both ways, Davis. You can't have you can't want them to beat him up and not face the consequences. You're right. I'm always playing both sides of the coin, though, aren't I? I hate it when we get penalties. I hate that we weren't disciplined. I hate that we didn't know our assignments. And I hate personal fouls. Absolutely. Inexcusable, right? But yeah, you're totally right. This is just my hope, that we got to find, we have to find the way how to be tastefully the dirtiest team in college football. Tastefully the dirtiest team in college football. Because if that's the case, then I think we're beating up on a lot of teams and we're winning a lot of games, baby. It means we're overly physical. Now, as a Broncos fan, 2015, that was the best defense I saw as a Broncos fan in my lifetime. We were lights out, right? They would have TJ Ward, Aqib Talib, Von Miller, like all these guys. There would at least, I feel like, be like 2 personal fouls at least a game from that defense. But they were just so elite that you just didn't really care too much. And it would be great if that defense could be like that this year. Now, again, someone asked me earlier in my stream with Raw, is this a team that's going to be a fringe top 10 defense, allowing less than 17 points a game? Sure. Like, I was telling Raw on the phone later this evening that, like, dude, I think some people think that I just daydream about the Buffs just like sucking or like just being average. No, when I daydream about this team and all these players, I'm just thinking about how good all of them can be. So the way that I imagine it in my mind, absolutely. We look a lot more like the video game version of Colorado football than maybe when I give my official predictions on here, right? But all that to say, yeah, you are totally right on this, Pog LLC. I'm asking for something impossible, and yeah, I'm still asking for it though. Yeah, you might get suspended a game or a half for an eye poke. All right, Lamar. NCAA 25 is not going my way. What? Tell me what is going on. Oh, no. I have one committed and lost my 2 5-star targets to CSU and CU. Well, that's great. You asked, wait, who are you playing with? Who are you playing with? Are you rebuilding a team? Because, hey, you should know better than anyone. When Colorado's in that recruiting battle, you better bow out. Now, with CSU, man, I don't know how you're losing recruits to Jay Norvell. You got to fill me in on what team you're taking over. I'm worried for you, man. Now, this is why I wish the game was a little bit more realistic. We could offer jobs to friends and family. We could choose to go the old Hugh Freeze route with some of this recruiting. You know what I'm saying? Or hey, we could just roid up. But they're not going to have that in the official game, sadly. Jacoby Hammond, Jordan Seaton, Justin Mayers, Tyler Brown, Tyler Johnson, Khalil Benson. My concern about the O-line is depth, extreme decrease from starters to backups. We will end up in the same position. Yes, 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 because I agree with those concerns. We don't have a ton of experience. We got at least physical archetypes that are very intriguing to have in that possible 2 deep. But I'll put it this way, Jacoby Hammond, I am much more concerned right now on the outside, what our tackle depth looks like as a whole, more so than being worried about, for instance, at guard or at center. I appreciate the love, Rawhide. Got a care package coming your way. All right, Jen J, who do you think you are? Texas Tech. They are really good at giving away yards for penalties. They got CU beat. Absolutely. Texas Tech loves to give away those games. But here's the thing: an elite defense can make up for playing a little bit over that line. And ideally, if we don't have the defense to play that dirty this year coming up, we'll be the dirtiest defense. What is? I'm getting trolled. I'm getting trolled by Lex. Okay. Anyways, Lamar is down bad. Yes, Lamar, you got to fill us in on this, man. Okay, Bishop. What's up, Bishop? Have you been praying for this football team? Please, dear Lord, I hope you are praying for this football team. We need it. Um, Heck, I might even do a day of fasting just for everybody to hit the over on their bets this year. That's right. I'll leave it to the professional bishops to pray for their hearts, their minds, their health, all that. I'll pray for us. I'll be the patron saint of winning money. We need to win our bets this year. Amen. Oh, you're playing with Fresno State. Yeah. And I don't know if this has an impact in the game, but Fresno, it's not really a part of California that you're jive to live in. You know what I'm saying? It's more reminiscent of probably Lincoln, Nebraska than it is all the cool parts in California that everybody wants to live at. You might need to look at relocation. But no offense if you live in Fresno, California. My little sister lived there for 9 months, and she enjoyed it. Thank you, Chief Solomon. Guys, I swear to God, um, you guys, is it like a full moon tonight? Can't tell because of the smog from the fires from these other states right now. But I'm getting way better comments than me and Raha got earlier today. What is up with that? College football should have a preseason. I totally agree with you. And if you're Brett Yormark, make that part of the media deal. You gotta okay. If you want to make it up somehow, the revenue difference, you got to chip away at this thing, baby. You got to find different ways to bring in revenue. You're not gonna just ever beat them by doing the same thing that they're doing. That's the beauty of the capitalistic marketplace, right? Best product out there gets paid. Well, not always the case with college football. All I'm asking is for one game. I want to see guys like Jordan Onavue. I want to see if Jace Feely is still trying to be a kicker or if he's transitioned to linebacker yet. I want to see these things. We're never going to see if we're just playing regular season games. They're too important. And even put it on in the spring. We're looking for football. Heck, the UFL is successful. I guarantee you that preseason games in the spring for Big 12 teams will outperform viewership for the UFL, no doubt, right? And especially if it's in the spring, they might be closer to real games in the fall in terms of viewership. You got to think outside the box. I am petty. I'm getting my true feelings out right now. Is we're America's team and we need to play like it. That means we play dirty, violent, aggressive football. and we're hanging 30-point leads on teams and then making it 50-point leads on teams. That's what I'm talking about. Jacoby, you're bringing this up. Did you see the spring game? Jordan gave up a sack on the first play of the game. Yes. I'm hoping he, along with Khalil Benson, can continue to get better since then. So we have a lot of time since the end of May, which is wonderful, which is absolutely wonderful. Or April. Was it May? No, it was the end of April. And what are your thoughts on the running game? I hope we run the ball. I think we will run the ball. Surely. Again, I don't know how we can go through what we went through last year, experience the problems that we experienced last year, and then just do the same thing. The talent that we brought in, the focus we had on the offensive line, the fact that everybody that we brought in my opinion, that's played in the transfer portal is a plus run blocker. We're sticking with somebody with NFL experience like Pat Shurmur. Don't let the Broncos fans, and I know, yes, it is true. Pat Shurmur said at a Broncos press conference as offensive coordinator just a handful of years ago that, you got to practice the incompletions. What the hell does that mean? I'm looking at Pat Shurmur with a clean slate from being the Broncos offensive coordinator. I have forced myself and trained myself to do that over the last 8 months, 9 months. We're going to run the ball. It might not see us looking offense with all the pre-snap motion and stuff like that. I think we'll have more of that than what we had in the Sean Lewis offense this year. But I think we'll see some creative running plays. But this isn't going to look like Lincoln Riley or Cliff Kingsbury's, offense. This isn't going to look like Johnny Manziel and all that stuff. It's going to look tactical. We're going to kill you with 1,000 cuts type of offensive philosophy rather than just going for the big play. It's going to be surgical, methodical. It's going to look like a science. And what I want to see improvement with Shador with is that, especially after working with Pat Shurmur for this offseason, is that we're going to see him be a little bit more selective when it comes to choosing his spots to be aggressive, whether that's with the passing or his scrambling. I think we will see a more controlled Shador, which, of course, he's shown a ton of flashes of. We just want to see him do this more consistently, which, again, he does this. He, no doubt, is that number one overall pick, in my opinion, because these are very small things that I'm talking about. But when you're at this level, that's what it is. But my hope, this is going to look more like a Brady or Manning type of offense with how Shador Sanders is running it. It's not going to look like, even though he's an Andy Reid disciple, Pat Shurmur, I think a lot of the concepts and formations, it's not really going to be anything earth-shattering. You're going to see a lot of it. But I think you need a quarterback that can execute it to perfection. He has the opportunity to do that, and that was a long tangent of me just saying Pat Shurmur is going to run the ball because that's what's part of this offense. You need to establish the run. When his most successful year, in my opinion, was with Case Keenum in the Minnesota Vikings. Shout out to Abilene, Texas. Home of Case Keenum. And they ran the ball like crazy. And while I don't think you'll see a 70% run to pass ratio, you'll still probably see it like 70-30. It's going to be done at a higher rate, and it's going to be done where it makes sense. Like, you're going to see us get those third and short gains. We were still having to pass on so many of those situations last year because, again, as we've seen with some of the film rooms, the play could open up just fine. Like, it could be designed well. It could be the right call or read that Shador is making, where you're running with with numbers in your favor on that side of the field, right? And you got Jack Bailey there, and that's why it was going nowhere. The running game, we're not going to run like Oklahoma State, but my hope is that it's going to be very, very effective. And we should choose our spots to be run heavy. We have the ability to throw a changeup in there. We have the ability. Wouldn't it be so great if we're up in a one possession game and we get the ball with 6 minutes left and we're able to run out the clock? We couldn't do that last year. It was so tough to see Utah do that to us at the end of the season last year. A 6-minute drive. We couldn't get the ball back. I really felt like Ryan Stott was going to lead our offense down the field to score again if we just got the ball one more time. I want to do that this year. And that starts with playing dirty. No, it's just fun. I stepped away. Did you mention the tight end talk yet? Yes. I feel like a tight end, like a Travis Kelce, a true dual threat tight end, always makes an offense even harder to defend. But maybe there just hasn't been an emphasis on it because we really do want to run 10 personnel and we really want to get our wide receivers the ball. And I think it will be more successful approach this year because I still think we'll be able to run the ball. Now, I still would like to see us still run out of, even if it's 10 personnel, can we run out of pistol a little bit? I would like that. The offense has to have an identity. If the QB2 is the identity, that means throwing the ball is number one, run second, work the play action. And I don't think that's a recipe for championship ball. Got to win the trenches first. Yes. And I think last year was our attempt to really, again, guys, my expectations for the offensive line last year was just to be average. And we were far away from that. We were far away from that. I think it was incredible. Still, we had somewhat of a decent functioning offense, although it was clearly broken by the second half of the year. Still was amazing in some of the spots what we were able to do, like our game against Arizona. I really did like that. If you can't be true at midnight, what are you awake for? That's true. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Jace Feely doing any kickoffs on the first team or the field goal kicking on the first team either. That's Mata, and probably I'm going with Gerlach to be our kickoff specialist. We'll have to see. I still haven't decided what games I'm going to be at. Sub Coach Kev, what's going on? What do you think about my late night hopes, keys to victory? Mainly it just starts with being dirty. Ooh, this is cool. Chief Solomon saying, who do I talk to about being the tattoo artist? Well, if I'm going to do a show sometime this month with Gucci on Twitter, but Gucci knows people on the team. I don't really know people on the team. So you might reach out to him, but that's really cool. They got the barbershop set up in there. That takes this program to a whole new level because I'm sure other programs have a barbershop inside their facility. Who has a tattoo artist inside their facility? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Chief Solomon, I think you could be bigger than Chef Solomon if you're the official, employed CU Buffs athletics tattoo artist there. I think we're on to something. I think this is the one thing of substance we've been able to come to a nice conclusion on in this stream is that this needs to happen. This is something that feeds into the against the grain nature that this program is moving in. That would be really cool. And imagine all the old heads all offended by that. By offended, oh, now the talk is, do you just want to go to Colorado so you can get tattoos? Might as well put the music studio in there too as well. Yeah, you got to manifest this thing. Where's Bishop? Say a little prayer now. Let's make this happen. Yeah, Pat Shurmur was definitely terrible. It's also a good thing that he's not going against NFL defensive coordinator minds, in my opinion. So we're about to find out. KB82. Maybe Pat Shurmur was a better college coach all along. I'm gonna, no shade to Pat Shurmur, but it seems like he's been very re-energized. As a Broncos fan, I see your profile pic right there. We've talked a lot about Sean Payton just seeing so energized this year. Like, he's so happy. You can tell he's happy to be doing this every day. He likes the people that he's working with. You've kind of felt that same energy from Pat Shurmur, especially this offseason compared to when you saw him, for instance, in New York City or dealing with the Broncos media from time to time, right? I think he's energized, and I think that your energy, your enjoyment level of what you're doing definitely impacts the product, and I think we might get some of Pat Shurmur's best football out of him. Oh, Coach I need to watch your preview. I know you texted me on Saturday. Thank you for reminding me to do that. Y'all go check out Coach I's Colorado preview he just posted like a couple days back. He said I would be pleased. So I'm taking it that he has Colorado facing Georgia in the college football playoff. Rawhide, I agree, would love to see 11 personnel, but you also have to put the best players in the game. And I think what we talked about today, talking about Jimmy Horn, somebody that I haven't spoken about for a while. There are scenarios in which Jimmy Horn and Omarion Miller are the two most productive wide receivers on the team. And they might just be as equally as talented as the other guys that we've brought in. I don't really know how this whole thing is going to shake out. We have a very good problem at the wide receiver position, which, again, look at the course of the change of the room over the last 2 years. It was a big bump last year. Now we got depth. Now we got real depth. I'm very excited about it. Now, KB82, Mata can only hit field goals 40 yards and under. I will agree with this, kind of. I'm going to edit your 4 to a 5 because I think he did hit a 48-yarder there at the end of the year out there in the cold, in Salt Lake City. The altitude doesn't have as much of an impact on that distance stuff out there. It is slightly lower elevation. But all we need him is to be okay for 50 and under. If you're at midfield and it's like a 4th and 2, fine, go for it. But in college, with this offense that we got, I really do feel like we should not be kicking any field goals over 50 yards. That's just how I feel about it. It's much different in the NFL. You need that guy to be able to hit from 53 consistently. How much of an upgrade are the two defensive linemen out of Pitt going to make? I think substantially, especially with helping in the run defense, especially Deion Hayes. I think Samuel Okunlowa, he actually had, I think, one more total sack. Deion Hayes had 4. I think Samuel Okunlowa had 5 as a part-time player last year. Part-time player. So very effective in the pass rush. But I feel like they're both well-rounded guys from what I've seen. But I love the fact that we got serious experience coming over here from ACC level football. That is not a joke that I'm saying. ACC level football is still good quality football. Um, outside of Jordan Dominic, we didn't really have any guys that have proven themselves in the edge room in terms of production and a significant amount of snaps outside of Jordan Dominic. And we saw how that turned out. Hey, Chairman A, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. Give me 1 second here. We have the skill players on both sides of the ball. However, we need to see who's going to tough it out at the end for their brothers, because there will be diversity on our journey to 8 wins. I love how you put all that. Yes, there's going to be different situations. Like, all these wins are going to look different. I think a lot of these wins are going to be close games. But again, like I said with Raw earlier today, we went through the phase 2 of a rebuild last year where you win a lot, or where you lose a lot of single digit games. Now you're going to see that flip a little bit more. You're going to see us win a handful of these single digit games. We will not blow a 28-point lead to North Dakota State like we did against Stanford last year. There is no, I will rip my Ralphie Horn ears off of here if that happens. You can hold me to it. It is not going to happen. But you're very right. We couldn't do anything in short yardage last year. That's why it's like, I still don't see this as a run-heavy team. I think we'll be running the ball more, but still going to be predicated on the pass, as it should be when you have an elite quarterback and the wide receiver talent that we have. But on 3rd and 3, I want to feel good about converting that on a run play more often than not. And we could not block to save our lives in those situations. We could not run effectively. You saw just how hard it was for us to punch it in at the goal line at certain times. Like I said, Chairman A, wouldn't it be great if one of these wins is just by running out the clock with like 5-6 minutes left in the game? Something we wouldn't have been able to do last year. We couldn't. That would be freaking cool. That would be cool. Surfer Boy coming here saying, I'll be amazed if the running backs get 10 touches a game. Their primary responsibility will be pass pro. Shador Sanders and Coach Prime want to be at New York City at the end of the year. Good night, y'all. Hey, if you're in Georgia, you're staying up late. I don't think you're wrong at all about that. Like, the goal needs to be, aside from wins, it needs to be getting Travis and Shador as co-Heisman finalists. It's pretty much impossible to split a Heisman Trophy victory with how many votes there are, but it would be great to get them. I think that's got to be one of the top goals, is getting them both at that ceremony. Yes, this is still going to be an offense that wants to put up points, and it's also good for recruiting. But our situational running must be better. I think we'll get more than 10 touches a game. I'm hoping that. But I understand we didn't see that much last year. See, that's what I'm talking about, Chief Solomon. That would be so cool if you were the official tattoo artist. And I saw that some programs, maybe it was LSU, they now have their head chef and all that listed on the football website. Do we have that now? I think we do. We talk about it more than anybody, I guess. What's up, JB? Watch the Indiana versus Alton game last year, or Akron game last year, because Alton was on our team, Alton Casco. Maybe that'll be a good one where maybe Khalil shows his stuff. Have you been watching the NFL Top 100? They just started yesterday. No, I haven't. I'm gonna have to check that out. I wonder I mean, Pat Surtain will be on there, no doubt. I wonder if any other Broncos mate. Quinn Minor should be on there. I don't imagine the Buffs having a tough camp because of lack of depth or lack of depth. Was that intended? Anyways, if you kill them at practice, we're not talking literally, uh, they won't finish the season. So what do you do? How do you coach? Well, seriously speaking to this question, which I think is a good one, there's just a lot of limitations on padded practices and the amount of contact guys can have now. I don't really think you can. Um, I just don't really think there are tough camps anymore in NFL or college football. Maybe compared to when we were watching Hard Knocks, 15 years ago. It's just different. Um, you just see a lot less physicality. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that did play into it where maybe our starters were really beating up our depth guys who were, clearly we were thin at some positions last year, and haven't really thought about that. But I feel like nowadays you should enter with a pretty healthy team. But I think that we've seen this with a lot of teams across college and NFL is that there's tackling that doesn't look as smooth, or teams can lack that sort of toughness that you love to see. I guess maybe you guys that have played college football recently can speak to this, but with all the limits on contact and full pads and stuff in practice and practice hours, all of that, how does a Michigan or a Georgia coming out, looking the way that they look? How do you instill those cultures of violence? Not the guy to answer that. Yeah, that's right. That's right. CU versus Georgia. No, I'm just playing. JB. Okay, yes, Akron. I need to check that out. I'm gonna skip through some of these comments because I know we got 52 people in here. Man, I probably need to get to bed. But Dave, if Timmons stays healthy, he's gonna play a good amount. JB, I'm gonna try to remember that you're the guy calling this, because I got to be honest, I have no expectations for Terrell Timmons, none at all. So if he is the guy to break out and surprise in this room, it is you. It is you that called it. It's you that deserves all the credit. Clip this, save this, whatever. I have no expectations for him. So, and it's not because I think he's a bad player. I just know the other guys better, to be honest. Coach Kev, if we are kicking from distance, we've got bigger problems. Yes, no doubt. Do I think we got a better edge than Jordan Dominic? Yes. I think BJ Green is a more well-rounded edge, and Deion Hayes might be. I don't know. I need to look at like the stats and stuff like that. Oh yeah, see, you think BJ is going to be good too, and I think Deion Hayes. I don't know. I bet Jordan Dominic was more productive in the pass rush, but I wonder if Deion Hayes might be more of an anchor for us in the run defense. Yeah, Bentley and Green will be feasting on that D line. That's my hope too. Linebackers are going to look a lot better. Demysticals. G. Thank you. Do you see the walk-on running back making a serious bid to start? We have a run. Well, Charlie Offerdahl got a scholarship now, if that's who you're talking about, and I probably see him as the fourth or fifth running back on the team. To be honest, I know that's not the happy ending to the story that everybody wants to hear, but I like Michael Welsh, Dallin Hayden, Isaiah Augustave ahead of him, and maybe Brandon Hood. I want to see 30 rushing attempts per game. Do you think we are getting 70 offensive plays off, 75, 80 in a really ideal matchup? So let's kind of look at those splits. So let's say we get 70 plays. That's running 42% of the time. If we get 80 plays, it's running 37% of the time. I think we probably, ideally that sets us up to do really, really well, which I agree with you on, Coach Kev. I think that would be a good split. But you're not saying this, but I'm saying this realistically. Maybe we get more around 20, which say we have 70 plays that's running 28% of the time. I'm okay with that. If we got a 1,200 yard rusher, like an individual roster, I think we're winning close to 10 games or like 10 games. Now, collectively, if we're rushing for 1,200 yards, maybe we're more around my prediction. But if we have somebody who rushed for 1,200 yards, we probably have another 800 yards of total rushing based on the other guys. That's what I would think, right? Maybe I'm going crazy, but you'd probably be pushing close to 2,000 yards of total team rushing. NDSU has 10 first team MVFC, Mountain Valley Football Conference, like all conference guys. That's wild. Well, I assume it's probably them and South Dakota State, right? I literally couldn't tell you anybody else in those conferences. Also, tell the boys don't kill each other. They'll be all right. Yeah, that's my hope too. KB. Yes, Garrett Bowles needs to sneak in there. Sorry for the tangent, y'all. But yes, would love to see Browning or Benino play their way in because that means we're going to have a good defense over in Bronco land. Michigan and Georgia can practice that hard because they got depth. Well, we got a lot of big boys now. Go look at all that video footage. Those guys just look bigger, stronger, meaner. Yeah, right now I got LeJontay Wester as my starter, but again, I would not be shocked or freak out if Jimmy Horn is one of those starters. Like any of those guys, I feel like could start. And I know it's not going to happen, but I think our depth at wide receiver would make me feel comfortable just playing Travis Hunter in 2-minute and third down situations. I think it needs to be a priority. I know that these injuries, his freshman year was more of like just coming back from surgery too quickly. And then last year's was a freak injury, dirty hit, right? But a priority has to be keeping him healthy. And I don't want to see him miss a chunk of games because not only does that hurt the Buffs, that also hurts his draft stock probably because, if you can't play one season all the way through 12 games, there's going to be questions about that, whether that's fair or not. That's kind of what I would do. But maybe it's not really much of a concern for them because I don't know if Travis will play two ways as much as he is going to play in college. I still think he'll play two ways though in the NFL. I think that will happen. think that will happen. Yeah, we definitely need the lack of death practice. We need that. Our team needed that last year. If we're gonna play dirty, we have to practice through death. Hey, Fanatic still watching. Thank you for giving us context. There are a few tough camps out there. You have to have competitive depth. UGA goes 1v1s every practice when other teams are shorts and helmets on Thursdays. Dogs are in pads. Wow. 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 I want to see that. And we don't run ones versus ones. At least on the practice footage they allow us to see, a lot of the times it's not ones versus ones. And like the spring game, um, I don't think we had ones versus ones. So that's interesting. I'm going to plead the fifth. If Shiloh leads in tackles, we have a problem. Yes. And that's not because Shiloh sucks, like some people will make that out to be. No. That will mean our front seven is ass. Whatever happened to Salson? I have no idea. I'm sure he's okay. No news is probably good news because we would have heard if he died, And as long as he's alive, that's good. Chairman A, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. This is Pat's last chance. He can't fuck this up. I think if Pat does well, he's staying with Prime until Prime leaves. He won't want to go back to the NFL. Interesting theory. Kind of a little bit different than my theory, where I can totally see this. If he really, truly does just enjoy the college game more at this stage in his life and career, I would love that. And I would love that for CU because of continuity. I love it. Part of me does wonder if Pat Shurmur is also here because he wants to get back into the NFL, not as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator. And much like you saw Andrew Luck, once he was drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, well, I guess this happened before he was drafted, bring in Pep Hamilton to be his offensive coordinator, who was with him at Stanford. A lot of people want to talk about, in the mainstream media, Coach Prime jumping to the NFL, which, I mean, we've talked about the nonsense I feel like that is for the most part. I think that if you're looking at a coach that possibly could go or have, it makes a little bit more sense, is Pat Shurmur going wherever Shador goes as offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach, and that putting him back in the NFL. I could totally see that, but I don't know what he wants. I don't know what he's looking for in his career or how to finish it out. No idea. I think we get Juju. Guru spoke it, so I'm gonna, Guru predicted it. I'm feeling very good about that. Guru knows. So if I had to put some odds on it, I think it's like 80, 90%, baby. I'm feeling really good about that. But hey, Guru. He told us how that whole Jordan Seaton thing was going to happen. He's told me every guy that's coming in here, and yeah, man, like when we had all those visits come, I mean, he was letting us know days in advance, who was locks, who wasn't. So when he comes out and posts something like that publicly on the X account, I believe that he's saying it with good faith, and it definitely increases my belief that we're going to get him. We're going to get him. I think they will with Cam McKell. They will have him start out at wide receiver, though. Maybe play some running back, too. and then transition to playing in the secondary. I do feel like wide receiver is so stacked, though. His quicker path might be going into the secondary. We just might have to see. But I think he's a dog, just like our six deep or whatever we got in the wide receiver room is 6, 7, 8 deep with dogs. Yeah, we're gonna see Bentley's best year again. It's the Bo Nix effect. When you're playing your sixth year in college football, you like literally cannot be bad. You cannot be bad at it. He's gonna be good. Gonna be just fine. Yes, Raw. That's right. The Pat Shador connection. Teams do that. You're absolutely right. See, I'm playing 4D chess right here. This mind. Yeah, I could totally see Pat Shermer following Shador. But does he want to go back to the NFL? I don't know. What did Guru say about Antoine Hill? I met Guru like 2 days prior, I think, to the Jordan Seaton stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if he was out making calls before that. But yeah, it's going to be a fun week. Oh, see, Jen, this is my greatest fear. And I've thought about it because there are not very many quarterback needy teams right now. Going into this season, one, because you just had 6 teams draft first round quarterbacks. So likely the amount of teams drafting quarterbacks in the first round next year, there's not going to be as many. And that would leave a team like the Raiders, which I feel like Antonio Pierce is a decent coach, at least, right? I mean, I thought he did well in his interim role last year, but yeah, like can they suck enough for the first round for the first overall pick? I don't know. Could they make a move though if they're in striking distance for that number one overall pick? Absolutely. If Shador is not the number one overall pick, which is a possibility, but right now, if I had to put my money on somebody, it's Shador. They could get him, but man, that would suck. My favorite CU quarterback, then going to play for my arch nemesis. He's the only team I don't want to Shador to go to, but it would be an awesome and really fun fit with him there in Vegas. That's for sure. Yeah, but he's not fast though. Now he's probably faster than Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck though. But I think I do think that the Cowboys have him on this roster or have him on the radar. It's interesting that we haven't heard any more about that Dak Prescott extension, right? He still isn't signed to an extension. So this is his last year, correct? It would be a total Jerry Jones move, and I would love every second of it. Absolutely. Oh, that would be so cool. There's so many storylines with him in Dallas. I mean, there's a lot with him going to Vegas too, but there's even more with Dallas. The family history, growing up there, Jerry Jones. It's the Cowboys. All the flash, the glitz, the glamour of Dallas. Okay, Dallas is like that. Dallas is shiny. Okay. Do you think this team can't wait to play CSU? Yes. Yes. Smack that ass a million times, man. Make them quit. That's what I'm saying. Make them quit. Make them tap out. That's what I want. And I know, Travis, he's a better human than I am, doing that whole thing with Henry Blackburn and whatnot. But if he's still on the team, man, we have to make our presence known to him. And he needs to be I'm not saying you put that guy in the hospital or anything like that. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm just saying he needs to be a focus to where he needs to understand if he's coming at these guys, he's got Khalil Benson to deal with. I think Khalil Benson takes this responsibility very personally, and he will lose his mind. So if I had to pick a game in which one of our offensive linemen is going to get kicked out, it's definitely the CSU game. It's definitely the CSU game. Then we can put this little bro rivalry to bed for a little bit. I'm not honestly that thrilled that we have still so many CSU home and homes in the future, but it is what it is. If Shador goes to Dallas, McCarthy has to go. Yes, you're bringing in, you're running back the Bill Parcells type of thing where you're bringing in Bill Belichick. Watch that happen. But no, Bill, like I said, if you're 80 years old doing something with that much responsibility, it's just time for the next generation. Let's just have that be the theme. The 80-year-olds. We're not saying die. We're not saying all that. We're just saying stop being head football coaches, presidents, all that sorts of stuff. It's time for the kids, the younger generations to rise up and be the amazing generation we were told growing up in school and all that. Am I looking like Clay Thompson? I, I don't know if that's a compliment. Carter Stoutmeyer, baby. Let's go, Carter. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. If Shador goes to Dallas, McCarthy has to go. Oh, yeah, I talked on that one. Yeah, he's out of here. I agree. Benson, go knock their block off. Yes, Khalil Benson. Yeah, and I'm probably going to give him a longer leash because I expect it out of him, with him punching walls in the videos and just, again, Shiloh saying it, dude. He's Psycho B. He's Psycho B. And, I think that, again, I was very hesitant, or I just didn't want to come out and say that he was automatically the best right tackle out there or anything like that. No, no. I wanted to see Savion Washington stay here, but he's going to do great at Syracuse, no doubt about it. But the longer I think about this, the longer I hear you guys talk and all this stuff, his attitude is what I want so desperately for the identity of this offense, to operate from. And who cares, Dave? Who cares if he's not the perfect player? He's going to add more than just that. So he's going to, he brought us in for an attitude adjustment. That's what we need. And that's what you're getting at. Rad Daddy. We need more Khalil Bensons on the line in terms of that attitude. That's right. Now, steroids does help with that. If, we're taking a bunch of steroids, we will have roid rage. And that could be used to our advantage. Now, I'm not advocating the use of steroids. Fuck it. Yes, I am. We will be a better team on steroids than not. How many games we win this year? My prediction's 8. Do you believe this new line can protect Shador and provide lanes for the running backs? Yes. Better than what they were last year. Again, I still probably see them giving up around my hope expectation, I guess, rather, because my hope is that it's 0, right? But my expectation is probably 25 to 30 sacks. I'm hoping it's more like 25, though, right? But that will look and feel just so much better than what we saw. Like, I don't know. I'd say the average, each lineman, each position gives up is three, so that's 15, and then so some of them can be on Shador trying to make a play, scrambling outside. I attend to that. 25 sacks. Right, JB's got 10 games. I love it. Let me know who you got our two losses to. I'm interested who you think the two best opponents we're playing are. Yeah, no more than 20. I love it. I love it. But yeah, we're not going to see anywhere near 50. We're just not. I hope. I hope. Surely. It would be hilarious if the whole offensive line was just juicing out of their minds and looked like human tanks. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I don't care. I don't care what goes on. Much like the Georgia program, I don't care what's going on. I want championships, baby. I want to stack up those wins. No one's talking about how Kirby Smart is a terrible leader of men because it's just all about the football. It's all about the wins with the football team, and do I say this a little bit, tongue in cheek? Yes, but I'm also like half serious. It's like I just want to see this team win. If we're happen to be juicing, if we're happening to be on that Barry Bonds plan and find out about that years later, does this diminish all the satisfaction of winning all these games? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Again, baseball was better when everybody was juicing. Oh, you didn't get an alert? What the heck, YouTube? Thank you for having your alerts on though. Let me know. But yes, I want us to be the strongest guys out there, and I'm not professionally. I look at this channel that I do. Depending on the mood that you catch me in my sobriety level, uh, this is serious sports analysis from a rando fan's perspective. But then it's also entertainment. It's also a little bit of fun, and I think sports are fun with steroids. I'm usually in here. I just listen. Maybe next time I should do like an ASMR themed chat. I think it would be a lot of fun. But yeah, like I would love it if this whole team was juicing, because I bet Georgia's juicing. I bet Alabama was juicing, right? Um, you know, if you're paying your players under the table for years when none of this collective NIL stuff was allowed, you're surely getting guys steroids and helping them beat the testing or HGH or whatever it is, right? Maybe that sounds like a little conspiracy. Again, I was not, as you can tell, a Division One athlete. Maybe some of you D1 athletes can speak to that, or former D1 athletes. Oh, I love it. Sober Dave, 9-3 winning bowl game. Dave high. AF, we are winning the natty, baby. Absolutely. Absolutely. That we're here for the emotional wave. Ron and I, we gave our speech, on predictions versus hopes and all that stuff. I'm not going to give that to you again. I want to see us win a national championship this year. Wouldn't that be so crazy? And that's why it's that the ends justify the means. In the words, I'm sure Hugh Freeze said this at some point: the ends justify the means. JB, you're going to all the games. I love that for you, man. That's a lot of fun. Hope you got, um, you know, a mileage account with one of those airlines. Or, yeah, you're probably just local if you're going to all the games, right? Well, I guess you'd need to fly to the away games too. Yeah, the steroids take is hilarious. Yes, I've said it a lot of times, and this you're only going to get it here from me. The only Buffs YouTuber I think that I've heard talk openly advocating for us to use steroids. I mean, let's talk about the dangers of steroids. I don't really know. They talk about some certain things that could change with your anatomy, right? And you could have some back knee breakout, and you could have some mood swings, I guess. The roid rage, but I mean, The Rock sure looks healthy to me, man. I think he's doing just fine. He's definitely on steroids, right? Like The Rock is definitely on steroids. Now, more seriously, go Bucks. Yes, you're right. Don't need steroids with all the supplements and private chefs. Yes. However, I did see on, I think it was a, not a THC. What is the uh, TLC? TLC. They had a show. This guy eats 100% raw meat. He eats raw, like steak, beef, and this is what is disgusting. I think absolutely disgusting. Eats raw chicken. Disgusting as like his full diet. But he's seen his testosterone levels just increase like crazy being on this raw meat diet. Absolutely disgusting. And his girlfriend is also an only raw meat person. I was like, surely watching this whole thing, I was thinking, dude, this guy does not like, there's no way this guy has a girlfriend or a wife, anything like that. And he does. Like, what do you do for date night? You just sit down with a bowl, like with your dog. You just eat what's on your dog's plate. Think about that one. But now I think about it, has any college football player we know had to sit out for using steroids? Exactly. See, really fun. I have wondered this for the longest. I can't remember the last football player in college football suspended for like steroids or PEDs. Like I can't think about it. And at least, granted, I went to a FCS school for undergrad before I went to CU for grad school, and um, they everybody knew the testing schedule, and it wasn't very often. And you knew the head coach did not like you if you got tested right after your birthday. Saw that happen a few times. Who do you think is the Khalil Benson of the defense? Man, I really don't know if we got somebody that is kind of, a little bit of that unhinged that you like to see. But maybe Shiloh, in terms of being like the physical, emotional leader. But I don't know if we got anybody that is crazy on the defense. Maybe somebody will show themselves to be that. We do need some more crazy on the defense now that you bring that up, Rad Daddy. You might be the only person openly advocating for steroids in college football, and I will advocate for steroids in all of sports. Like I love how there's this like Olympics like competition coming out. Uh, I forget what it's called. It's called like the Juiced Games or something like that, where it's like all these Olympic sports, but you can like use steroids openly. Let's just see how it does. And then it's really cool when someone who's not using steroids beats them, because I still think that can be done. It wasn't Frank Thomas though. I think Frank Thomas totally did steroids. I think Frank Thomas totally did steroids. Don't come after me. Brett Favre totally did steroids though, I bet, and he's going to come after me. Allegedly. Allegedly. Oh, that's not how your testosterone goes up eating raw meat. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Now, judging by your photo, sounds like you know a lot about fitness, so I'm going to take your word for it. Juju or Shador? Easy. Shador, but Juju next year, baby. College doesn't test for PEDs. That would make sense. Yeah, remember all those like roided up guys on Nebraska in like the 80s and 90s? Yeah, this is a college football talk after dark. Talking about cutting all the necessary corners to become champions. The enhanced games. Thank you for this, Jen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Heard about it on a Joe Rogan podcast. Wow. Well, this was a lot of fun, guys. Glad I did this. It's been a long time since I did a late night live stream. This was absolutely great. Thank you. Shout out to everybody for joining me. This is what makes doing this fun. Special shout out to Chairman A. $15 to my goofy looking ass. Thank you for the generosity. Thank you guys for making this a lot of fun. I'm very thankful. I don't got a meeting till 11:30 tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. Sco Buffs.